Hi! Let's talk about books that I read in October. The first book that I finished in October was A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reid. Now, A Theory in Dreaming is the sequel to A Study in Drowning. And if you haven't read A Study in Drowning, I don't want to spoil that book for you. So I'll just try to capture the essence of this book without spoiling anything. We have two main characters, Effie and Preston, and at the end of the previous book, they succeeded at several things. And now those things come to sort of bite them in the ass. What else? What else can I say? What else can I say? Effie is discovering more things. This is so vague. And she is also having difficulty with everything that they are coming up against. While Preston is, of course, worried about what is happening to Effie, but he also starts to have very vivid dreams, and things will be going on with that as well. You know so much more now. Anyway, did I like the book? Not as much as I liked the previous one. Now, with the previous one, I did have some issues because it took me a long time to get into the book. It took me over 100 pages to actually get the feel of that book. But once you get into that feel, it was really pretty cool. It was this gothic fairy tale kind of situation. And the language used was pretty good to describe that. Now, in A Theory of Dreaming, I was interested from the start because I didn't need 100-page build-up because I already knew the characters, so that helped. And I was kind of excited to be reading a different book than the one that I read before that. But yeah, let's not talk about that one anymore. So I started off really well with that book. I liked it a lot. I was going at a good pace, getting through it, and then things started to slow down for me. And that is not because of the language, because once again, this is written really well. I actually love the language style of Ava Reid. But what was happening in this book was that the content didn't work for me as much. I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in those dreams with Preston and be enthusiastic about it, but I just couldn't really. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity with where the plot went, and I actually really did not like what Effie was going through. I did not enjoy reading those parts. So I was mainly focusing on Preston, and then that storyline didn't really pay off for me. I thought he was becoming a certain character or going to be replacing a certain character from the previous book, and then that was not what was going on. And well, it felt kind of, yeah, as I said before, like a missed opportunity. So not my favorite book, which is too bad because I was looking forward to reading this one. Next, I read Duck, Death and the Tulip by Wolf Earlbrook. This one is about Duck. This is Duck. And one day, Duck notices that he is being followed by Death, and he is scared, of course, at first. But then Death explains to him that he is just there for when his time comes. It is not coming right now. And Duck and Death start talking about death and what that entails. And this is quite a simple picture book, actually. It doesn't have a lot of text in it. So it was quite simple, but it was really well done for being so simple. And I enjoyed this one very much. It was kind of bittersweet. Yes. So if you want to have a look at something quick, or if you are looking for a way, I think, to introduce the theme of death to children, I think this one is actually really good to do that. Next, I read Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. I already talked about this one in my Halloween video, but briefly, this one is about William and James, two friends, two boys that are about to turn 14. And in their little town or their village, this circus or this sort of fair thing arrives at night. And they see it arriving and they notice that it is set up in a strange way, and they start noticing strange things happening in the town. People who aren't exactly themselves anymore, or are being played in a certain way. And strange things happening at the fair as well, in the rides that are there, the carousel, I called it. Maybe you call it the merry-go-round, I'm not sure. And the mirror maze, which is also quite intriguing. And all of this is happening around the central figure, the leader of this circus, which is the illustrated man, who is this scary person. And that's about it, what I am going to tell you. This one felt really like an 80s movie, a scary 80s movie. However, the language of Ray Bradbury is very elaborate. It is very poetic, and that really got in the way a bit sometimes of the storytelling, because this kind of book, a scary book, you want it to be fast paced. Definitely at certain times in the book you want it to be fast paced, and it got interrupted somewhat by all these parts that were more elaborate or a bit more philosophical, which were quite beautifully written but did not fit in with the pace that the book was going at. So too bad about that, but still a very, very good book to read. Then I read The Last Party by A.R. Torre. This one is about a murderer who was convicted 23 years ago for murdering 3 girls at a birthday party. And now we are actually following the point of view of a woman named Perla. And she has a daughter and she is married. But we, from the beginning, notice that this Perla is quite a terrible person with really worrisome ideas. So you are worried from the start what is going to happen, what she is going to do. I'm not spoiling anything with this. It's in the first chapter already. You notice right away that she is a dangerous person to be around. And then it is quite interesting to follow everything that she starts to build up, all the things that are going on in her head. And then we also get these chapters in which that murderer of 23 years ago is being interviewed or is telling how he is feeling. And it all builds up towards the end. And it was kind of fun for once to read a thriller in which I did not exactly predict what the ending was going to be. I don't want to sound conceited or anything, but lately that has been my problem with thrillers, is that I see the ending coming from a mile away. And I was glad that this one did something different, or it ended differently, at least to what I thought was going to happen. So yeah, if you want a fast-paced thriller, not difficult to read at all, and have some fun with it, then I would recommend you to read The Last Party. And the last book that I finished in October is Hot Wax by ML Rio. ML Rio you might know from If We Were Villains or Graveyard Shift, both of which I have read. So I was looking forward to reading a new ML Rio, and I was kind of hoping that you would prove me wrong, because for different reasons I did not like those previous 2 books. Well, I sort of liked If We Were Villains, but it could have been better. So I was looking forward to her hopefully having grown as a writer and giving me a bit more. But I was quite disappointed in Hot Wax. Well, I will first tell you what it is about. This one is about Suzanne, and we have a dual timeline. So we have the now of things, in which Suzanne is running away from her husband. She is leaving him, but without telling him that she is leaving. And she's doing this because her father died and she has inherited his car, and there are a lot of memories connected to this car. So she gets onto this sort of road trip through the United States. And on the other hand, we have the past, in which we get to know Suzanne when she was 11 years old, and the situation her parents were in, and the whole story of her father, who was in this band called Gil and the Kills. And during the summer when she was 11, she got to go on tour with the band, and she saw a lot of things happening there, of which I cannot tell you too much, because I would be spoiling the best or only good part of this book, in my opinion, of course. So what did I not like? I did not like the whole of the Now timeline, which is too bad because that is the main part of this book. I thought it was pretty contrived towards a certain conclusion of this book. It was kind of unbelievable. Characters were not acting according to the way they were set up to be. So that one was just a total miss for me. And then we had the past storyline, the beginning of which I really wasn't into too much either, but I think that might have been the combination with like the Now storyline, which was getting in the way of that. Because then later in the book, but over halfway in the book, we do have certain chapters of that past storyline which were really well done. They really had me on the edge of my seat. I loved those chapters. If you have read the book, you will know what I'm talking about. But that was it, and I didn't really get anything then anymore towards the end. And yeah, it's too bad because in those few chapters, like 1.5, 2 chapters, you can actually see brilliance in this writer, which was my same problem with If We Were Villains, to be honest, and The Graveyard Shift too. It's that I can see and I can tell that this author has potential, but she's not quite delivering for me, or she's definitely not delivering for me in a consistent way. So yeah, I cannot recommend you to read this one. If you are into like an 80s music scene, or you just want to follow the story of a band growing, I think you'd be much better off reading Daisy Jones and the Six, for example, by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I'm really sorry to say that this one wasn't for me. So these were my October reads. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you soon in another one. Bye!